Welcome, World Hoppers. I am CJ, the GM for our Loose Canons group. Are you wanting to avoid spoilers for Stonewalkers? Do you want to see whether or not we can stop the Everstorm from being summoned? I don't think they can, but I think they're going to try. Then you want to be joining the Shard of Opportunity web series each week for the Loose Canons ongoing adventures. I sat down with each of our players to have them answer a few interview-style questions to help you get to know them as well as I have as I've watched their ongoing adventures. We cannot wait for you to see all of the hijinks that ensue when the Loose Canons are let loose on the shattered plains of Roshar.
Hi, I'm Cate, and I play Batarab, who is a Alethi noblewoman in her early 20s. Her father is Bright Lord Kevlar, who is known for having a horse face, thanks to wit. She is a secretary to her father, scribe, and assists him, and she will be starting out as an envoy. As far as it comes to solving problems, Batarab likes to think she uses knowledge and politeness and is a very diplomatic person. However, she sometimes can create more problems for herself because her diplomacy and mannerisms are directed through a very specific Vorinism funnel. An item that Batarab always has on her is her journal, her diary. She likes to take notes of everything she does on a day-to-day basis and also includes anything that she experiences in a more visceral manner to take note of. She does want to eventually write some great work, and she hasn't been able to fully decide on what that work will be, but she believes that continually recording everything she experiences is going to help her with that. But Tara does not have someone who she could really consider a best friend. Her mother keeps a very tight leash on her, which has limited her from being able to engage in the greater social circle of the Alethi war camps. She is very excited for her cousin Tevlin to be coming and joining her family in hopes that they will grow close as they are close in age. But Tara is someone who has very complicated drive. She knows some things that she wants. She wants to, as Yasna Colin put it, find her own calling as a woman. But her family wants her to find her own calling very specifically throughout Vorinism and to not be led astray by any other ideals. And so she has been raised to have a very narrow mindset. This is causing her problems as now she is reaching a point where really big decisions have to be made. Who is she going to marry? How is she going to live out that life? And is that really what she wants? She's not sure, and she doesn't really know how to move beyond her own insecurity in that. So Batarab's biggest goal is to really be able to know what it is that she wants, not what her parents want for her, not what other people want for her, but what does she want? And that's something that she hasn't been able to properly explore because of her environment and the societal pressures that she has found. If Batarab could punch one person in the war camps and completely get away from it, and no one could ever know, it would probably be Adolin Colin, because her parents really pushed her into having a courtship with him because of all of the advantageous things that would come of that. And she felt embarrassed and humiliated by the end of it, and he completely forgot about her and probably wouldn't recognize her if they came across each other. So thanks, Adolin. So I hope you really enjoy getting to know Batarab through this campaign as she goes from someone who was fairly unwilling to start this adventure to someone who is very proactive, making her own decisions and becoming a whole person through the process. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Chris. I'll be playing Bryn, a Iriali surgeon of sorts in his mid-30s. The starting path that I decided to take him down was scholar, and then we did move into the surgeon tree a little bit there. Bryn basically is not a people person, and when he grew up, he kind of just liked taking things apart and putting things together, and really didn't feel physical contact or anything with anyone around him or any of the other kids in Erie. But eventually, he started reading more about the human body and what it can do, and he became interested in medicine. And thankfully, his family was able to save up and send him to Carbranth to study. There, he practiced medicine, and when he is in that zone of medicine, that fear of physical touch and intimacy disappear. He is completely focused on the moment. When Bryn gets it in his head that there's a problem to be solved, he goes into a full mental compartmentalization and focuses on the problem at hand. That being said, he did get a little tutelage in swordplay, and when his studies don't solve a problem, sometimes the end point of a rapier will. Honestly, he after he moved out, he began traveling. Again, he's an Iriali man, so his time spent has been devoted to the one, and it is one of the few things that has been a core foundation for him. For whatever reason, his experiences in the world he believes are fine. Even though it doesn't go with the other children and eventually young adults that he grew into, that's okay. The one needs every experience. And he has continued to just move on with that. From Erie to Carbranth, he eventually made his way to the Shattered Plains. He did not hang out with the Alethi, though. After reading about the initial conflict, he decided to go hang out with the Singers. Um, and he started interviewing them and writing down their experiences. And surprisingly, they were willing to take in somebody who was willing to listen to their side of the conflict. Um, he didn't really form any friendships with them, but they respected his approach essentially. They admired his knowledge, and he would talk to them about their history and their past, anything that they wished to remember. It was exciting for him. He actually fully developed a decent understanding of the listener language, though mimicking the rhythms are not for him. His goals are to continue his learning, honestly, and it drives him beyond a shadow of the doubt to just keep learning and writing down all of these people's histories and everything he's come into. His spoken languages aren't particularly the best, other than his native Erie and Rira, as well as the Singer language, which he's been getting better at. Written, however, he's pretty proficient with a bunch of them. As far as he feels about the conflict at the Shattered Plains, he actually falls on the side of the listeners, the Singers, the Parshendi, however you want to call them at this point in time. He sees a lot of bloodshed and stuff firsthand, and it's beginning to cause cracks in his faith, if anything. Uh, the one teaches the fact that Bryn should accept that all experiences, even sad or bad ones, uh, are important. But the monstrous natures of this war between Singers and Alethi is making him question. So to that end, he's started recording every person he can find, every person he can attend to, acting as a healer on their side, writing their names down. And that's his most treasured possession at this point, is a journal where he writes all of his colleagues and friends on the listener side's names down, records their livelihood, what they did before they joined the war, and how they died. Everything must be remembered. And that remembrance has started to draw a little vine-like creature with some crystals growing out of it that is starting to talk to him. And I guess we'll see where that goes in the future. So I hope you tune in. Hopefully, Bryn will be as interesting to you guys to listen and hear his story unfold as I have planning it, at least the backstory. We'll see what the GM decides where this fate goes. Thanks.
Hello, I am Joshua. I go by Jofu online, and I am playing Tevlin Hasham, who is a young, light-eyed woman from Yakaved with big dreams of becoming a world-famous archaeologist. She is a scholar who would much prefer being outside getting her hands dirty rather than stuck in a dusty old library. She is the fifth child in a fairly wealthy light-eyed family from the southern coast of Yakaved. Her Alethi mother was a very influential figure in her early life, instilling in her a sense of adventure and curiosity. She also passed on to Tevlin a free spirit and a tendency to challenge boundaries and ideas. Her mother passed away when she was only 13. At the age of 17, wanting to see more of the world, Tevlin became a ward of a Vaden diplomat in Azir. Living in a foreign country really gave her room to stretch out of the Vorin culture that she grew up in. But more importantly, there she learned about organized efforts in archaeology by the Azish people. And this interest became her passion during that time. So she's returned home 4 years later and is excited to pursue her dreams to become an archaeologist. Tevlin lives on instinct and doesn't have a lot of patience. So when she encounters a problem, she's usually going to solve it the first way that comes to mind. She will usually default to using her brains or her charm. But if a violent solution is the one that feels right at the moment, then she's going to be pulling out her bow. In general, Tevlin has very fond memories just reading books with her mother and studying in their private gardens. She also really enjoyed exploring the grounds on their family's country estate, making discoveries, seeing whatever she could find with her siblings. Um, on one occasion, she and her siblings found an abandoned homestead covered in plants and crim, and they spent all afternoon exploring. And she has always wondered ever since about the people who lived there. Tevlin loves adventure, and when she leaves home to see new places, she's usually too excited about where she is or where she's going to feel homesick. So no, she doesn't very often feel that way. When her mother passed, Tevlin inherited her earrings, and she always has those on. They are simple silver earrings with small heliodors set in them. She also is never found without a book in arm's reach. Tevlin is quite an extrovert and makes friends everywhere she goes. I would say that her closest friends are two ladies that she befriended in her time in Azir. That would be Tarin, a fellow ward from Yakaved, and Zerash, a local Azish woman who dreams of becoming a vizier. The three of them spent all their time together, their free time, their study time. They just became best friends during her 4 years there. Tevlin also recently met the Horn Eater Grove on her way to the Shattered Plains, and I would say that they are also quickly becoming pretty good friends. She is driven by the joy and challenge of discovery. She isn't interested in notoriety. She is chasing the self satisfaction of finding things that were hard to find in places that nobody else thought to look. Her mother would often say, rare gems are seldom found on common paths, and Tevlin lives by those words. Tevlin's biggest obstacle is herself. She has a tendency to be impulsive and impatient and chaotic. She doesn't always think things through very carefully, as well as she should, and relies on instinct, often making decisions too quickly. This gets worse when her own natural confidence gets a bit overextended, and she can find herself in trouble pretty quick. She only really knows of them as the mindless parchment slaves that her family owns and doesn't give much consideration to them. She's somewhat sympathetic, or at least interested in the Pershindi, largely because she doesn't think very highly of Alethi warmongering, so she doesn't instantly write them off. but she's never met one, and so doesn't have very strong opinions. I think that when she does meet one and discovers that they're a person, I think that she'll very quickly respect them and treat them the same way she would a human. One last thing about Tevlin is that she doesn't mind breaking the rules. They are nothing more than a social construct to her, and she doesn't, if she doesn't mind paying the cost, or if she thinks she won't get caught, she won't hesitate to break them to achieve.
Hello, everybody. My name's Doug, and I will be playing Nakal Pilar. He is him. He is 37 years old. So he is an Alethi through and through. He is originally from Alethkar, and he serves as a bodyguard, a house guard for House Kavalar. So Nakal is a warrior. That's the path that he's been on since childhood, and that's the path he's going to follow in the Cosmere tabletop. Nakal is a very large but very calm individual. He feels it is important to think through a problem first, but he is also not afraid to use his larger than normal stature to solve the problems in more physical ways. So Nakal remembers fondly training with his father and learning to focus himself and channel his mind along with his physical body, learning to find that true balance between acting physically and thinking mentally. And his father helped him hone that skill as a young warrior. Nakal doesn't feel homesick for anything, mostly because his home is being where he needs to be. As a house guard, his home is currently protecting those that need him near them. So he always has his trusty axe and shield. They were forged for him by a childhood friend that has now become a master smith, and he takes very good care of them and they have not left his side since his early 20s. His best friend is Risham. He has become a master smith in the Sadius war camp, and while he doesn't have as much time to spend with Risham as he would like, he still goes out of his way to find time on his downtime to spend time with him. Nakal is driven by his instilled sense of duty from his father, and he's also spent many years protecting people. Nakal's primary goal is to find a way or a place where his sense of duty can align with his want to both protect and be where he is needed. Nakal's largest obstacles as of now are he is split in the need to both protect and obey orders. When those two conflict, it is very difficult for him to make decisions when things like that arise. Nakal feels that the Parshendi are a strong warrior race that maintain honor on the battlefield, having only been on the battlefield when the House Light Eyes are out there. He hasn't had to battle them personally. He hopes that the conflict with them will be ended soon after 6 long years of fighting. Nakal doesn't feel a particular need to punch anyone, but there is this one high prince called Sadius that grinds lives into the ground. And if given the chance, he would probably go to the executioner's table for driving his fist through Sadius's face. The primary focus for him is probably going to be on his sense of duty and his sense of wanting to be where he is needed. So probably the most dramatic story that Nakal has, and has kind of put him in the situation he's currently in, is he had a quote unquote disagreement with the Light Eyes of his house about using slave runners for bridges. And because of that disagreement, he was promoted to Batarab's personal guard. He could care less what the problem is. He could care less what the Light Eyes think.
Hello, I'm Emily. I'm playing Kalin'ohoa'kina'aliku, also known as Grove. Her pronouns are she, her. She's from the Horneater Peaks. She is 24. She's trained as a hunter and is going on the hunter path. So when Grove encounters a problem, she doesn't necessarily jump straight to violence, but she is quite impulsive, very impulsive. She doesn't spend a lot of time thinking through solutions, but as soon as she comes to an idea that seems good enough, that's what she goes for. Grove has a lot of fond memories of her childhood. She's super close with her family. They're all a pretty cohesive unit. She has 2 older brothers, and they played really well together. They still have pretty good relationships. Her mother was a traveling merchant before she came to the Horneater Peaks, met her father, and fell in love. And Grove has always found that story super compelling and hopes that she one day has her own little romance. Grove is not homesick because she was very excited to go out. She was very excited to go out on this adventure. Her mother actually encouraged her to go out because she really enjoyed her time traveling all of Roshar and thought it would be really good for Grove to do the same. Her father did not agree. But she does carry a scarf with her that has her family's names embroidered on them that her mom made. And so she's looking forward to seeing them again, but is also very content with her time right now where she is traveling. She has multiple friends. She is super extroverted, makes fast friends with people. She does have one really good friend her name would be translated to Melody. And then another friend that she has is a friend named Leaf. But he left a while ago to lead a caravan over to the war camps, and she hopes that she'll run into him at some point. Also, Grove is getting very excited to get to know Tevlin because they seem very, very similar. Grove is driven to improve her hunting and tracking skills. She really wants to become a Kaluki like her aunt. She spent a lot of time with her aunt listening to her stories and is super motivated to try and join that. But she has botched a few of her attempts. And so she feels a little insecure about her abilities, but tries really hard to portray confidence. And this adventure, she's hoping to elevate her skills so she can do that. She's pretty unaware of what's going on with the Parshendi, so she has very little thought on who they are or anything. So she will make decisions and judgment as she encounters Parshendi. I think Grove is super fun and funny and tries to be sincere. And I hope that you guys end up liking her as much as I like her and enjoy watching her journey.
As you can see, from High Ladies to Horneaters, we've got quite the adventuring party ready to hit the war camps at the end of July. We can't wait for you to see their adventures as well as the Cannon Walkers as they hit Bridge 9 here very shortly on your YouTube screens. We would love to know, what would you be interested to see the Loose Cannons tackle as we have the freedom to go anywhere on the wide planet of Roshar and maybe beyond. But that is, as they say, another secret, as there always is. Journey before destination. Keep watching on all the Shard of Opportunity socials for more interviews, perhaps an interview with Johnny O'Neill, the CEO of Brotherwise, and we can't wait to continue to walk through Roshar with you with the Shard of Opportunity.